Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Well, if you're ready, I'm ready.
I'm ready.
Here we go. Woo, golly. We're doing it again.
What a week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's Monday.
It is Monday, and that doesn't make it easy.
No.
But we at least have this to look forward to.
Y'all, it's Monday, and we got rain.
Oh my gosh.
I swear to the Lord.
It's been monsoon today.
Right? I went to see my doctor today, and as I was checking out, the nurse said, I've been praying for rain. I said, well, will you stop?
Could you stop it?
Like, can you call up Jesus and say we're good?
Yeah. Or could you next time, say, hey, I'm praying for an inch of rain.
Right. She said, well, it's been so hot. I wanted it to cool off. I said, well, did you forget to ask for the cool off part?
Yeah, exactly. Because it doesn't, this time of year here in the Low Country, it doesn't come off with come with a cooling off.
It does not.
It just makes it more humid. The steam rises up from the roads.
Yes, and those dang mosquitoes.
And the mosquitoes, they wake up and they're like, oh, this is us. And then they attack.
Yeah.
So sad.
It is.
It's really difficult.
I agree.
To deal with. And it's a Monday.
And then on top of that, you just got the normal riffraff going. Just the normal everyday riffraff.
Which, that's enough to...
People don't know how to act. They don't know how to be.
They don't know how to be.
Everybody's all out of sorts. And I feel like if I don't start day drinking, it's just going to get rowdy.
I think it's going to get rowdy when you day drink as well.
I think when I day drink, I won't care as much.
You think?
Well, that's what I was hoping
I don't think so. I think you're just going to get mouthier.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So, speaking of day drinking, we're drinking something new, and I'm so excited about it.
Delicious.
It is so scrumptious. I feel like I'm drinking a bourbon milkshake.
It does seem like that.
Yes.
It's not real bitey. It's not bitey at all.
Not at all. No.
It's smooth. It's smooth enough that I can definitely get drunk quick on it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm trying real hard not to guzzle this.
I know.
But I just want to.
You're not normally a sipper.
Go. I've been talking. That's why I find that I can't talk and sip at the same time. I haven't figured that one out yet.
Oh, keep working on it.
So what we're drinking tonight is Buffalo Trace Bourbon Cream. So you've heard of Bailey's Irish Cream. Well, this is the same kind of thing, but take out that Irish cream and you put in some bourbon and some cream, and it's real good.
It's delish. I know it sounds weird because people are like, ooh, bourbon and milk, but somehow it works.
It's working, and it's a little sweet. I would, maybe in a different setting, I would maybe do a half a shot floater on top of bourbon.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. Or I would just put this in my coffee.
Oh, also good.
Yeah. Buffalo Trace. Go look for it in the liquor store or the ABC store, or whatever, the Red Dot store, whatever you call it in your area, and see if you can find it. But hey, Buffalo Trace, we could use a sponsor.
Oh, yeah, because you know what? We've never had
a sponsor.
Buffalo Trace bourbon.
This is the first for Buffalo Trace.
And it's mixed with creams.
And it's their product. And if we could get a sponsorship, we would just so love that.
Yes.
So if anybody has any kind of connections to Buffalo Trace,
holla at your girls.
Please let them know that we desperately would love for them to sponsor our podcast.
Yes, those zany sisters from Sugar Coated Murder Podcast.
Brought to you by Buffalo Trace. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Every single opening would be
Buffalo Trace.
Sugar Co.
And Buffalo.
I haven't even had but 2 sips of this, and I can't even talk right. I think it's because I haven't had enough sips.
I think so, too.
So anyway, that's what we're drinking, and I have brought food to the table.
Yes, it is so aromatic.
One such a good word.
Thank you.
That is a really good SAT word.
Thank you. I did not do well on my SATs. Well enough to get into one college, the only college that I applied to.
That's all it counts.
That's really, it was like a one and done.
Yeah.
I need this score to get in that college. Done.
Got it. Check mark. Why? What else do you got to do?
Nothing.
You just got to show up for orientation.
And I didn't even graduate from that college. So
whatever. I'm going to tell you about this little recipe for blueberry cobbler.
Oh, love blueberry cobbler.
First of all,
tell them where you got your blueberries from.
Boone Hall.
Who got your blueberries for you?
My mama. They went blueberry picking and they picked a bunch of blueberries, and I got some so I could make some cobbler.
Yes.
Thank you, Mother Nature and Boone Hall and Mama. This very simple recipe is going to make your whole life wonderful. And I'm just going to tell you right now, all you do is reach for the Bisquick first.
I mean, if they make a product that is just already mixed together stuff that you'd have to mix together anyway, use it.
I agree. I completely agree.
A lot less mixing, a lot less dirtying things.
I agree. And a lot less time before you get the blueberry cobbler into your mouth. This here recipe is, and you can email us if you want the recipe. I'm sure you can look up a recipe saying blueberry cobbler using Bisquick, whatever, however you want to float your boat.
But we all know you didn't just use that straight recipe. So go ahead and tell us how you did it.
I'm going to tell you what the recipe calls for. It calls for 6 tablespoons of melted butter, 1 1/4 cups of Bisquick, a 1/2 cup of sugar, 2/3 cup of milk, and 3 cups of fresh blueberries. The first thing that I do to my blueberries is I dust them with flour so that they don't all sink. That's the first thing. The second thing is I feel like it should have some Killa Vanilla in it.
Yeah.
So I add a teaspoon of Killa Vanilla.
Yeah.
Just to ump it up.
Ump it up.
Ump it. And then for the 1/2 cup of sugar, I like brown sugar. So I did a 1/4 cup of each. I was not brave enough to just do the full 1/2 cup of brown sugar. So I did a 1/4 cup and a 1/4 cup, but I like brown sugar.
I do too.
I think it gives it a richer taste.
I do too. And we are sophisticated.
We are so sophisticated. And then, the milk, I just use milk.
Yeah,
I didn't add any liquor to this.
Oh, man.
So what you do is you melt your butter and you pour it into an 8-inch or a 9-inch square baking dish. Or like I have a small oblong one, and I don't know what it is, maybe 8 by 11 or 8 by 10.
Little.
That's a little oblong one.
Yeah.
That's the one I use. And pour your melted butter in it. And then you mix your sugar, your Killa Vanilla, your milk, and your bacon mix, your Bisquick. You mix that all together, and I just use a whisk. You don't have to get the beaters out or anything. I whisk it, and I try to get as many of the lumps out as I possibly can. You pour that onto the butter.
Do you stir it into the butter?
No, you pour it on top.
Just on top of the butter.
You pour it right on top of the butter. And then on top of that, you sprinkle it with your blueberries.
Okay.
And then you put
So you don't even have to cook those blueberries. You just put them in raw.
You put them in raw.
Raw.
Yeah. Piper didn't like us saying that. And then you stick it in your 350-degree preheated oven, and you bake it for 42 to 47 minutes. Took mine about 45. It comes out golden brown and bubbly. And it's just great.
I wonder what kind of liquor we could put in there to zhuzh it up next time.
I feel like we could do...
Let's go with the blueberry.
I feel like an amaretto would really do good with this. Lovely.
Yes. Oh, we'll try it next time.
Or if you wanted to add a citrus note, maybe Grand Marnier.
Ooh, even yay. Oh, yeah.
Even yay?
Yeah.
Did you forget the grandma?
No, I think I was going to say even better. Yay.
Okay.
Even yay.
That's a good one. Even yay.
I think that's French.
I think it sounds Cajun.
Somebody look that up.
I think it's Cajun.
Even yay.
It's definitely Cajun, which has French root.
That's right.
You are definitely right.
Yeah.
And then when you bring it out, serve it warm and put some ice cream with it. Don't be stingy. But then the next morning, feel free to eat it cold from the fridge, because I do, and I like it.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
If there's any left. It's rare in my family that there's any left.
You got a big brood.
Well, I got a big brood, and we like some cobbler.
We didn't. I don't know.
And blueberry cobbler is our favorite.
Oh my gosh. You know what else would be good? Remember when we used to make those strawberry shortcakes from the Bisquick recipe?
Yes.
Y'all, if you never made those, you need to look it up. Those are
They're the best.
They are so good.
You can cook these blueberries down until they're juicy.
And drizzle them over those shortcake.
Yeah, you'd almost have like a blueberry dumpling.
Oh my Lord, that'd be good.
Yes. So you could do it would almost be like when you order sausage gravy and it's open face, and then they pour the gravy all over it. That's what you could do with this blueberry mix.
Yes.
Because it would be juicy.
Yes.
Girl, stop.
Boy, Santa.
That's
all
nice.
right. Well, delicious.
What did you bring to
Love
the
it.
table?
I brought a murder.
Oh.
Actually, I brought some headlines because I was just, as I was writing up this murder, I was looking through some headlines, trying to pick out which one I wanted. And I was like, what is happening in the world?
I feel like the world is just topsy-turvy.
There's something weird going on. I know you and I have been saging some and doing some Palo Santo.
Oh, yeah. I've got some going right now.
Setting off some smoke detectors.
I saged this afternoon and smoke detectored it off.
Yeah, we did it in my car.
Yeah.
I'm going to take some upstairs and do it at my place.
Yep.
We got something. There's something floating above, and we got to get it. It's time to get it out.
But if you're going to sage, you need to follow it up with some Palo Santo.
Yeah, you got to get rid of the bad and bring in the good.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just stuck.
Well, the sage clears it all. You don't want to clear everything and then not replace it with good stuff.
No.
You don't want to just take your chances on what comes into that space next.
No. I only invite good things.
That's right. Well, that's what you do with Palo Santo.
I say bad things go away. Good things come to stay. That's what I do. All right.
Okay.
Well, I don't know why you don't.
I guess I never thought to. I just felt like burning the Palo Santo was enough. I didn't have to chant.
You don't have to do words. You have to do words.
I don't chant.
Tell them what you want.
Well, that's manifesting.
Let's bring it in.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Jill, the host of the Murder Shelf Book Club podcast. Each month or so, I feature a true crime book by one of my favorite authors and delve into their story. But I don't stop there. A psychology educator for 30 years who's also studied serial killers, I apply what I've learned to these cases, doing a deep dive, analyzing and updating the story since publication. Told in trilogies, Part 3 is dubbed Second Cast, as I cast a wide net, following the threads not tugged on and taking the path not followed in the books, and going into some surprising, bone-chilling directions. Cold cases, homicide, missing persons, serial killers, family annihilators, cases from history, the stories that fascinate and appall us. This is a true crime book club, so read with me, or in these busy times, let me read for you. Join Murder Shelf Book Club podcast and see what I'm pulling off the murder shelf next.
Okay.
All right.
These are some of the headlines.
Give me some headlines.
All right. Here we go. Man charged after dead body found in garment bag.
That is not a good use of garment bag.
No.
I don't feel like after that you can ever put a suit in there.
No.
No.
What are you going to do with a garment bag? I mean, what if it's monogrammed? Then what?
Then what? Don't waste your garment bags. They're not easy to come by.
They're not anymore.
Yeah, especially of good quality.
Yeah, otherwise you're just putting your garments in a trash bag. Well, put your body in the trash bag and your clothes in the garment bag.
Thank you. Don't get it twisted.
Whoa. Charles Manson follower one step closer to freedom.
No, why, guys? Why?
No, let's just know.
There should not be any closer to freedom.
There should be no freedom.
No.
Testimony starts in case of man who murdered his stepdaughter. Florida lawyer accused of murder appears in court.
So the man who is accused of killing his stepdaughter, that's the Alyssa Turney missing stepdaughter trial. That Sarah Turney is a hero when it comes to podcasting for victims. And she started a podcast to get that case looked at and opened and all that kind of stuff against her dad.
Right.
And who was Alyssa's stepdad.
Mm-hmm.
It was Alyssa and Sarah were half sisters.
Right.
I watched a little bit of that trial today, and Sarah has been on the stand.
Oh, wow.
And she's very poised, and I'm so proud of her because for some reason the defense attorney is very angry.
Really?
And I don't know why he's going to be angry at her, but he's like really trying to take her to task on if she really did even like her sister.
Really?
And wasn't her sister a handful? What does that mean? Like, what does that mean?
A handful, so kill me?
Well, see, the problem is there's no body.
For heaven's sake.
It's a no-body trial.
Right.
I feel like...
Is it a jury trial?
Yes, and here's the crazy thing. It's happening in Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Arizona. And there's only 8 jurors instead of 12. They have 12 seated, but only 8 will go back to the room to deliberate, but they won't know.
Right. That's how they did it in the Murdaugh case.
Yeah. And then on top of that, well, no, because in the Murdaugh case, they knew who was going into the room to deliberate.
Oh, they did?
Knew who the alternates were.
Okay.
This trial, you don't even know if you're an alternate or a seated juror. Like they're all together.
And okay, until they go back to the room.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Arizona, the jury gets to ask questions of the witness. So you got direct and then cross and then redirect. And then when they're done, before the witness steps out of that box, the judge asks if they have any questions for that witness. That's where they ask their questions.
They can ask it directly to the witness?
They have to write it down and send it to the judge.
Okay. Interesting. Wow.
But that's really interesting.
That is interesting.
So hopefully, they're all paying attention.
Triple murder suspect lived with victims' bodies for days.
That's gross.
It's gross. That's just untidy. Lawyer tied to rapes by DNA left on drinking glasses is accused of 5 more.
Way to go, attorney.
I mean, our attorneys are going to hell too.
Yeah. They're just going to hell in a handbasket
I mean, get
right
it together.
now. The world is askew.
And then I came across this one that I'm going to talk about these idiot kids in Iowa who decided they were going to kill their Spanish teacher. It's just because of a bad grade. Actually, I'll say I think the media has really played up on the whole bad grade thing, because when you listen to the testimony and witnesses that kind of came forward, but it wasn't all over a bad grade. This kid just didn't like her.
Right.
He just didn't like her. He
That's
just
crazy.
felt like she was after him, or not after him, but she didn't like him, or on his case or something. It just is the weirdest thing.
Aren't teachers supposed to be on your case? Like, isn't that kind of their job?
Yeah, I think
and
so.
If you're in their class and you're not doing well, or you're not following instructions or whatever, aren't they supposed to kind of call you out on that a little bit?
I feel like they are, but whatever. All right, I'm going to talk about the story. And it took me a long time to write it. And then I went back and read what I wrote, and I realized that I wrote what happened to this woman like 3 different times. And I think probably what I did was I got it wrong. And somehow she drove me to get it right.
She was like, "No, you didn't get it right.
You missed it.
You missed
you
it. You gotta
something.
you gotta keep looking
and
back."
that's very teacher-like, right?
Very teacher-like. Yes, they don't always give you the answer, but they point you in the direction to find the answer, and they're going to keep sending you back till you get the answer.
That's right.
And that's what she done did.
3rd time's a charm.
That's right.
Hopefully, I'm not repetitive. I'll be able to figure out where I stopped and started. But let me just tell you a little bit about this Spanish teacher. She was 66 years old when this happened to her, but her name is Nohema.
Okay.
And they pronounce it, they're better at it than I am.
Is it Nohema?
Nohema, but they say it fast and it's just like it flows beautifully.
Right.
Last name Graber, Nohema. I'll remember that, Nohema. She decided to go back to school and get an English degree and a teaching certificate. She had worked as a flight attendant for 17 years and studied to become a commercial airline pilot. She actually became one of the first women in Mexico who was trained to fly passenger jets.
Look at her, Nohema.
Right.
She's a trailblazer.
When Nohema and her husband, Paul, moved to the United States in 1992,
the 50 nifty United States?
Yes.
Okay.
She decided to give up her flight career and she started to raise a family. She had some babies.
Aw.
Nohema was very active in her church, and she was a guiding light to her Latino community. She really was kind of a liaison between the church and that community. As a matter of fact, she did a lot of good. In 2012, she got a job as a Spanish teacher at Fairfield High School in Fairfield, Iowa.
Okay.
She would always tell her students, be more secure. Because she would see her students start to say something in Spanish and then hesitate.
Because they were second guessing themselves.
Yeah. So it's more like, have faith in yourself.
Yeah.
She would tell them, be more secure.
Oh, I like that.
She loved her students and her job, and she was known as a compassionate teacher, always willing to go the extra mile to help her students succeed in her class. She was a tough teacher, a strict teacher, but she was always willing to help, answer questions, whatever. Nohema loved to read, and she was an avid walker.
Yeah, well,
she
teachers are. They got to have that walk. They got to have that transition time.
She enjoyed the walk. Yeah. And there was a park over close, not far from the school, that she would walk in called Chautauqua. I think that's what they called it, Chautauqua Park. I could be saying it wrong. It's like a long Chautauqua. That's it. That's what we'll call it.
All right.
So she would go and walk after school. She had her routine. You know, she did her whole routine thing. I couldn't find any more background, but sometime between 1992 and 2021. Nohema,
21.
yes.
Oh gosh. Okay.
She and her husband divorced, but they were still very committed to one another. And her husband had cancer, and she was involved in helping him get his treatments and stuff.
Okay.
But they had at that time parted ways.
Okay. But she must have been a very nurturing, caring person to go back and help take care of your ex.
Oh,
that's a big deal for somebody to do that.
It absolutely
goes to show she had a big heart.
So on November the 3rd, 2021, she gets done with school and she goes over to the park for her walk, but she never made it home. She was reported missing. When police went to the park to see if they could find where she was, they found her body hidden under a tarp with a wheelbarrow and railroad ties over her.
What?
Her body.
Somebody just put a wheelbarrow over her, like flipped it over and covered her up?
Correct.
Like somebody was just, like people were just going to be like, oh, that's a wheelbarrow. I'm not going to see what's under it.
Correct.
That's dumb.
Correct. As word spread about the beloved Spanish teacher, some people went to the police station with information. And when I say some people, I mean young people.
Students.
They could have been students. They were juveniles. So their identity has been protected.
Sure.
So I don't know 100%. I would guess that they were students.
My guess is they were students of hers that had her in class, or perhaps students in that high school.
That would be my guess as well.
Okay.
So they came forward and showed police some Snapchat messages from these two kids that went to the high school, two boys. Yeah. Police obtained a search warrant and arrested Willard Miller. He's got a bunch of other names, but I'm going to call him Willard.
Good.
16, and Jeremy.
He probably don't like that name.
He probably doesn't. That's not the name that he goes by.
Oh, then we're definitely saying Willard.
Yeah, we're calling him Willard. And Jeremy Goodale.
Okay.
Goodale. Almost immediately, Goodale confessed.
Oh.
And agreed to testify against Willard. Initially, Willard pled not guilty.
Okay.
His attorney even went and argued that the police had gotten some search warrants illegally or whatever. And I think some evidence came out, and Willard had a come to Jesus meeting, and he pled guilty.
Okay.
Once he found out his friend Jeremy was turning state's evidence, and the evidence, I mean, come on. So
we're going to get to that.
Yes.
Are we going to get to that?
Once blah 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 with the blah blah blah,
and the
according to so according
blah blah blah, there was some lying.
There's some court documents.
There's some evidence.
So Willard did not like Nohema as a teacher. He complained about.
What was her last name?
Graber.
Miss Graber. That's probably what he called her. Miss Graber.
I don't know. He may have. I don't know. Sometimes out of disrespect, young people will call older people by their first name.
That really grates on my nerves. Mm-hmm. It really grates on my nerves, especially a teacher. You don't do that to a teacher.
No, it's weird.
It's not okay.
I don't know. Maybe in different parts of the country it's different, but I know for us, we just always, even our friends' parents, we never called them by their first name.
No.
It was, but I have seen people with teenagers now where there are some kids that call the parents by their first name.
So when my daughter was growing up, her friends addressed me as Miss Karen, but they always said Mr. But he was a teacher, and they had him as a teacher, and so they recognized him. Or if he was coaching them, they called him Coach. Yeah, they either called him Mr. our last name, or they called him Coach.
Right. But they would have never come and called him by his first name.
Never.
Unless they were joking around, right? But
I don't even think, and joking.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know.
I honestly don't.
No, probably
and
not.
Now still, these girls are in their 30s, and they still refer to him as Coach.
Right.
Or Mr. Ippity-Oppity.
Right. Ippity-Oppity.
Mr. Ippity-Oppity? Yes, that's his name. He's Mr. Ippity-Oppity.
The Tidy Tinkler.
Oh, gosh, don't bring that up. He doesn't like it.
I know, but oh my God.
I know. I think it's a compliment.
I guess somewhere in conversation that the media picked up, there was a comment that Willard thought Miss Graber was bringing down his GPA. I don't know if that's...
Yeah.
I think maybe that was one thing that came out, and the media was like, ooh,
We'll take that.
Yeah, we'll take that one. But he really didn't like her. He didn't like her method of teaching. Like he had
He's a
beef with
kid.
her.
You
like,
don't get to say. You're in high school. You don't have a teaching degree.
Right.
You don't get to say.
Right. And I can remember when your daughter was in high school, she had a Spanish teacher that was really not nice.
Not nice at all. Picked on her relentlessly.
Yeah, bullied her.
Bullied her, yes. But
she didn't kill her.
She didn't kill her, nor did she call her by her first name. She was not allowed to be disrespectful to her.
No.
I was disrespectful to her.
Right, and it's different.
Because I'm an adult and you talk on an adult level.
Right.
But my daughter was not. She was in middle school. She wasn't allowed. And even in high school, when teachers didn't like her, it was just, this is what you have to get used to because you're going to meet people in life that you don't like, but you still have to get along with them.
Right. And
some of those people are going to be your bosses, your coworkers, your in-laws, your cousin from Mississippi, whatever.
Yeah. And when you think about on a scale of this minute in your life, that teacher is like a tiny, tiny blip on the screen.
And looking back, that teacher is probably teaching you more than any other teacher that you like.
Right.
Because she's teaching you patience. She's teaching you how to adjust and pivot.
Right.
And when you go to college, professors don't even know you. They don't give a crap about you. They don't know you. They don't want to know you. You're passing through.
You're lucky if they even know your name.
Yeah. Exactly. So get used to it. When you're in high school, this is just preparing you. If you have one teacher that's getting on your nerves, count yourself lucky.
Yeah. It's like, maybe a month or so before this whole murder thing took place, Willard starts really talking about how he really doesn't like her.
Okay.
And how he wants to do something and he just won't let it go.
So he keeps talking to his friends and he is actually saying, I want to get rid of her.
No, I don't think he ever said that to any of his friends.
Okay.
I think that he's talking like teenage talk. Man, I hate her. I wish she'd go away or, I wish she'd die or, what I'm saying? Just that kind of thing. He actually mentioned it to his friend Jeremy one day and, a few days pass by. They're in the lunchroom. Jeremy goes to put his lunch tray away and Willard comes over and he said, will you help me kill her? Will you help me kill Miss Graber? And Jeremy said he kind of thought for a minute and he said, sure.
See, and if somebody had said that to me, I'd have laughed at them and thought they were joking.
Yeah.
And if they weren't joking, I'd have peed a little bit and run away. I'd been scared of that person. I would never have looked at them and been like, sure, I'll help you.
Yeah. And it just watching this interview with this Jeremy kid, it's like the detective says, now, when you said, sure, did you what were you thinking? Were you thinking about the consequences when you had to pause? And he said, no, I was thinking about being a good friend.
And that happens so much with kids.
I didn't even consider the consequences.
Exactly.
He never even, the consequences never played out in his mind.
And I'm not surprised because, kids, their brains aren't fully developed. But I'm just going to say, and I'm not blaming anybody's parents because parents don't raise their children to be monsters. I'm convinced of it.
Right.
But parents need to keep checking on their kids. Take the temperature of the room daily. Yeah. More than once a day, because it's going to change from the time they leave to the time they come back at night.
Sure.
It's going to change. Something's going to happen. And, I have a kid that he was a hothead.
Right.
I knew that he didn't understand what he was saying. Right. And it was scary. And I was constantly taking the temperature of his well-being constantly. Right. This started in elementary school for him. And then, we had to work on it a lot and keep it in check constantly. I just didn't let it go.
You don't just brush it off.
No, it was a stop everything and let's talk about this right now situation. I think that especially when you have a kid who is not a troublemaker, who, they get pretty good grades. Obviously this kid cared about his GPA. Right. It was important to him. So this is the type of kid that parents probably would not take the temperature of that kid every day just to see where the emotional well-being was, because they've got it. From all appearances, they've got it together.
Right.
As a parent, I think you have to assume my kid doesn't have it together.
Yeah.
Just assume that every single day until they're 18. Every day.
It's your job.
It is your job, and it should be
And
something
we were probably maybe over vigilant with our kids.
I'm
but
sure
they've turned out to be wonderful human beings.
they are very compassionate, empathetic human beings, and I think it's because we constantly checked on their well-being.
Right.
As far as what are you thinking? What are the words coming out of your mouth, and what's behind those words? That's the thing.
And we told them it's okay to not like somebody.
You cannot like somebody all
okay.
day long.
You
You're
can.
gonna not like people.
Yeah. You don't
You
get
have
along
to
with everybody.
coexist with them.
That's
though.
right.
And that's what you have to do. And it's very difficult to learn that.
Well, our
But-
family also has a low tolerance for people that are idiots.
Yes.
And I'm not saying we're like above.
No, 'cause we're idiots,
super
too.
smart. But if you're just going to go out and be completely stupid and irrational, then we really are probably not going to be hanging with you.
Yeah.
That's just not who we are.
Right.
We're more analytical than anything.
Yeah, and I think it's because our kids grew up. Well, my kids, I don't know about yours. My kids were a little bit afraid of me. And so they didn't want to completely go off with the kids that were like being completely out of hand and
Yeah.
crazy, because they were a little bit afraid of what was going to happen when they got home. And I know my daughter had friends that were more afraid of me than their own parents, because I didn't put up with any bullshit.
Yeah.
I didn't scream and yell at them. I just called it when I saw it.
Right. And we have a look.
There's
It's
a look.
an inherited look that
Yeah.
we have that can cause people to cry.
Or back up a couple of
Or,
steps.
yeah, maybe take a step or two back.
And I have a delivery with a very flat tone.
Mhm.
And so I think that didn't help. And back then the madder I got, the quieter I got, but the more my Southern accent would come out. And I would talk real slow, and I would get like real twangy, and they would be like, there's some kind of a metamorphosis going on here, and we don't know who this is.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I'm just saying it's more important today than ever to keep checking on the emotional well-being of your kids until they're 18 and out of your house. And even then, if trouble has been afoot, then keep tabs on them until they're 21.
Right. Ask questions.
Ask questions.
questions.
And make
There's
them
no-
answer you.
I'm sorry, but when you're a teenager like this and your brain is not fully developed, that's when you rely the most heavily on your parents, because there's such an influence on the outside world
Yes.
to teach them right from wrong, and to teach them kindness and empathy, and to learn how to tolerate things that make you uncomfortable, that make you unhappy, that make you mad.
And learn how to make
Have-
decisions that
and
may
have the
not make you
emotion.
the most popular person at that
Right.
moment,
And,
but
and
to
it's
know.
okay to have emotions.
Yes.
It's okay to express those emotions.
Absolutely.
So anyway, we've gone
gone off on a
sidetracked,
mama
because it's not
tangent.
about us. This is
It's
about
not about us, but I worry about the youths.
I worry
youths.
about the youth, but there is not one single solitary we can do. Only thing we can do is keep our house clean.
Yeah. And I'm just going to say mine can be a little dusty at times.
Everybody's can be dusty. I mean, I can be dusty sometimes,
Mhm.
and I have to be reminded. But somehow these two didn't. There was no check. There wasn't that switch that goes off in your head that says, "Ding, ding, ding! This is not a good idea. This is going to go very, very badly."
Yeah.
Because they planned everything and emailed each other back and forth about it, and they made a list. These are the things that we need to take with us. We need to take water, stay hydrated.
Oh, stay
We need
hydrated.
to take
Okay.
a knife, a pocket knife. We need to take a bat. We're going to kill her with a bat,
Oh,
but let's take a
no.
knife just in case. We need a knife, a bat. We're going to need some kind of transportation to get away. What's the location? Like everything.
And obviously they had a wheelbarrow
And we're going to need
and a tarp. Did you say she was covered with a tarp or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So they had to get that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you're
Um,
16, do you go buy those things with your own allowance, or do you take that out of your parents' garage?
I think you take it out of your parents' garage.
I think so too.
So at this point, as I'm writing things down, I wrote down exactly what they did.
Oh, good. Here we go.
I wrote it all
Buckle
down.
up, Buttercup.
And here's one page. And then
Uh-oh.
I started all over again. and
Let's read the
wrote it.
one that was the last one that you wrote that you got right.
Okay. Let me just make sure.
That Miss Graber approved.
This is the one that she wants me to tell you.
Okay, good.
They arrive at the park. They're at that park, right?
Where she goes walking?
Yes.
Chattahoochee.
Chautauqua. Whatever. The park where she goes walking. Jeremy gets there first, and he's hanging out talking to some friends over. I think there must have been like a skate park or something there.
Okay.
It was a very active park. And he's talking to his friends, and he looks over and he sees Willard walking, but Willard has come to the park and not gone to the place that Jeremy said, come meet me here.
Oh,
So Jeremy has to say goodbye to his friends and go run after Willard because, Willard's like on a path. He's going. They have been at school.
Willard's the one that wanted to kill her.
Willard's on it. This Willard.
Okay. And Jeremy's the one that said,
Being
sure,
the
I'll
good
help
friend,
you. I'm a good friend. I'm going to help you.
Yes. Willard is making a beeline. Now, they had been up at school and they knew that she was packing up and leaving. So there was a time. They knew the time. So Willard and Jeremy go over and there's, I guess, maybe like an access road kind of a little bit off the beaten path of the actual trail.
Okay.
And that's where they decide to go. Willard's got the backpack with all the supplies in it and the bat.
And where's the wheelbarrow?
The wheelbarrow has not come into play yet.
Okay.
The wheelbarrow has not come into play. They're standing kind of off in a wooded area, and Willard looks over at Jeremy and he nods, and Miss Graber walks past.
Oh.
He jumps out and he whacks her on the back of the head with the bat.
She didn't even see it coming.
She didn't see it coming. She drops to the ground and he hits her several more times. Then Jeremy and Willard drag her into the wooded area.
Is she dead?
I'm getting to that.
Oh.
Now, at this point, Willard goes over to double check the path to make sure nobody's there. Jeremy had originally been the lookout. Now, Willard has gone back to double check, and it's just Jeremy and Mrs. Graber. And as he's standing back there waiting, he hears her gurgle, which indicates that she has not yet died.
Oh, my God.
So he grabs the bat and he hits her a few more times. And what he tells the police in his interview is he wanted to put her out of her misery. He didn't want her to live that way.
How about you just don't start the whole situation? Don't start none, there won't be none.
Exactly.
Oh, Miss Graber.
So then
awful.
Willard comes back and he says he could see there's more damage to the woman. And he says, what happened? Did she wake up while I was gone? And Jeremy said, yeah, she made a noise and I had to make sure she was dead.
Okay.
So then they drag her further into the woods. Okay. At this point, they leave. They get her keys out of her pocket. Jeremy picks up her water bottle that she had been carrying that now has blood on it.
Ugh.
And they head to the parking lot to her van. When they get there, I think maybe from where the air conditioner had been leaking or something, there was something that he used to wash off the water bottle.
Okay. Yeah.
And then he threw it in a drainage ditch. They get into the van.
Well, they also brought their own water to stay hydrated, so he could have poured some of his water onto a water bottle.
Yeah. It was very, very difficult to hear because they were playing a video off of a video in the court. And the gentlemen that were conducting the interview had very loud voices, so it was very kind of cracky.
Okay, yeah.
They didn't handle their part well. You could hear him pretty clear, but
they need some better audio equipment.
They need better audio there.
Yeah.
They take that van and abandon it, and then they walk away and they go home. Actually, I think at one point, Jeremy went back to the park, ran into a friend of his and said, hey, you better leave. Like, there's some stuff going on. You better go.
What?
And so the girl left. Then they go home. They agreed that they would go back to get rid of the body and clean up the crime scene. Later that evening, when it's time, Jeremy goes past Willard's house. Willard has left a wheelbarrow and a tarp in the driveway.
Okay.
Jeremy gets the wheelbarrow and the tarp and heads to the park. Willard is at the park, scrubbing blood off the trail.
Oh.
To cover up the evidence. And then they both walk back toward the body, and the whole way they're kicking dirt to cover up the blood.
Tracks.
Right. And the blood.
Yeah.
Because, they
drug her.
Right. They get to her body. They lift her up and put her in the wheelbarrow.
Come on, guys.
Jeremy also had a shovel.
Like, I'm just going to tell you that if I have a cut and I have to change the Band-Aid and there's blood on it, my own blood, I get so grossed out.
Yeah.
So I don't know how these kids are doing this. How do they have the stomach for this?
I don't know.
I just don't get it.
I don't know. I don't know how you look at somebody that I just can't.
I don't know either.
It's not something my brain can even.
No, I
can't
cannot.
process.
No, I can't either.
They dig a little hole and you can imagine in your mind, they take the wheelbarrow and they dump it over.
Oh, they just like flip it.
She falls into the hole and they leave the wheelbarrow on top. And then they take the tarp and put the tarp over it. And I read somewhere there were some railroad ties that they put on it. I don't know, to hold the tarp down. I'm not exactly sure where those came into play.
They could have gotten them from Willard's house.
No, I think they were probably in the park because,
Oh, yeah. If there was any kind of landscaping or something, they could have gone over and gotten them.
Yeah.
And then they go home.
And then they go home. And then these two genius kids that are so worried about the GPA start Snapchatting with their friends about what they did.
They told their friends they killed the Spanish teacher.
Snapchat. They talk
These
about
guys are not too bright.
the execution.
I'm saying their GPA doesn't reflect their lack of intelligence.
No, the whole thing, all of it. They put it on social media. And you know what? Their friends didn't keep quiet.
Good.
Their friends.
Good for them. Good for them. Good for them. Good for them.
Yes.
Because if you see something, if you know something, freaking say something. Because if you stay quiet, you are complicit. You are just as guilty as the person that you know did it.
Right.
My God.
These
These
friends went and showed the police what was happening on social media.
So had the body been found at this point?
The body had been found.
Somebody had found the body.
Yeah, but I think it's all kind of playing out at the same time. It's really fast all together.
Okay.
Yeah, so they go and get a search warrant and arrest warrants, and they go and arrest Willard and Jeremy. They were both charged with first-degree murder. Like I said before, Willard originally pled not guilty. Then he changed his plea to guilty.
Okay.
There was a big fight at the beginning about whether or not they were going to charge these two as juveniles or adults, because when they committed the crime, they were 16.
Yeah.
And they fought hard about it. And thank God that judge said, no, this is an adult crime.
Yeah.
It's adult.
And you're 16.
Yeah. When they were arrested, they were 17 and 18. No. When they went to trial, they were 17 and 18.
How did this happen?
Overnight. They turned 17 and 18.
Yeah, from 16.
Right. It was a leap year. I don't know.
It was a leap year.
Come on, do the math.
I tried.
They're charged, and then they finally go to court. And it's not a jury trial, because they're guilty.
Because they confessed.
Jeremy gives a statement, tells the police exactly what happened, and corroborates the stories that are on social media to prove that it was actually originally Willard's idea. But that's about all he could take credit for, because they both
planned it. You both hit her.
Yeah.
You both covered it up, hid the body. Like you both, I'm sorry, but if you're there and you know you're committing that crime, you're guilty.
Yeah.
Whether you swung the bat or not.
Exactly. They just did the sentencing hearing for Willard.
Yes. I had heard that they were doing sentencing.
And that, just to let you know, that hearing lasted for 8 hours. The sentencing hearing lasted for 8 hours. There were 10 impact statements.
Okay.
One impact statement was missing.
Uh-oh.
The sentencing hearing took place on June the 30th. On June the 29th, Paul was buried. He passed away just before from his cancer. So he was not able to be there to give his impact statement, and he really, really wanted to be there. Instead, they read his obituary as part of the impact statement.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good.
The judge came in and sentenced Willard to life with the possibility of parole, which is a requirement if you commit the crime when you're 16, when you're a juvenile. That's the law in Iowa. I'm assuming this was a federal offense, so I'm assuming it's across the board, but I don't know that for sure.
Okay.
State's attorney had requested a minimum of 30 years before he would be possible for parole. The judge gave him 35 years. So he has to serve 35 years before he's eligible for parole.
Mm-hmm.
He's 18. He still would come out.
I know.
As a bright, shiny penny.
He can,
with a lot of life to live.
Exactly.
The ability to have children and grandchildren.
Yes.
All of that was taken away from Nohema
Wow.
and her family. Jeremy is scheduled to be sentenced in August, pending a psychiatric evaluation. I don't know what that's about. When you listen to, I watched a lot of court. I did not watch the court TV stuff when it was happening, but you can watch a lot of the videos online. And when they showed the video of Jeremy talking about what happened
to the police, there are a couple times when he pauses and he seems like oh my God, I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe I did this. But for the most part, it's very methodical. He goes through the story. He's not emotional. He's not torn up about it, but he's also not mental. Definitely. I mean, he knows that what he's doing is wrong, and he's like just trying to be a good friend. He's making bad decisions, but I don't see where he's got psychiatric. But the problem is, they could be questioning his current emotional competency right now.
And they're hoping maybe that the judge will be more lenient on him. Is that what they're trying to do?
Well, yeah, because
he took a plea. He's guilty.
I understand he's guilty, but if they can prove that he is not mentally fit right now, then the judge can remand him to a mental institution instead.
And sentence him at a later date?
Or, I mean, the judge can override the plea deal.
Yeah.
So the judge can say he's not competent and he can serve his sentence in a mental hospital. The problem with that is once they deem you cured in a mental institution, you walk out.
Right. And I don't think the judge in this case is going to do that, because part of that plea deal is they gave up the right to appeal the plea.
Okay.
And I have a feeling the judge isn't going to overturn the plea. I think he's going to stick to the plea.
All right.
This kid is not catatonic. I mean, I've seen people. I mean, think about that crazy Lori. What's her name?
Daybell.
Whatever. Like when she first got in prison, she was psychotic. She's still not all the way there, but she at least is a more functioning human being.
Mm-hmm.
This kid is not that.
It's crazy.
So I'm not exactly sure what it is his attorneys are trying to get out of this.
Maybe leniency.
Maybe. I'm sorry, but I think being eligible for parole after 35 years, after you've beaten your Spanish teacher with a bat, is lenient.
I think so too.
I think that's very lenient.
I completely agree. Because you're right. They can get out and live a full life. They can get out in their 50s, and still live a full life.
Yep. And they can really get in there and do some rehabilitation and turn out to be good human beings.
Mm-hmm.
One of Nohema's children, a son named Christian, gave an impact statement, and he looked at Willard and he said, "I think there's still hope for you. I think that you just need to go to jail and find the Lord. I think you need to find the Lord and put your life on a different path." Of course, this kid is non-emotional, but
I saw some clips because, I do watch a lot of court TV, but I wasn't really honed in on this case. But I did see some clips where that kid he just has, I don't know if he has a resting bitch face or what, but he just seemed so smug.
Very smug. And even when
smug, I just wanted to wipe that smug look off his face. And then there were times, the clip that I saw, it looked like when the judge was reading through all the mitigating circumstances that a judge has to weigh before sentencing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about
during the 8 hours.
During the 8 hour that the kid it looked like he was about to fall asleep. And I'm thinking, your life is in the balance.
Yeah.
You're going to jail because you beat a woman to death with a baseball bat because you didn't like her grading situation or whatever.
Right.
And I thought, can you just for 1 minute look like you've got a shred of emotion?
Yeah, but it's hard to say though. Sometimes attorneys tell you do not show any emotion, and I don't know if that's always a good thing.
I know, but in the sentencing phase, you would think that's when you would show the freaking emotion. Like, show that you've got some remorse.
I mean, they got it. They told him to stand up and apologize. And he stood up and apologized to the Graber family, to Jeremy's family, to his family, to anybody that cared for Mrs. Graber. But it came across as he was not only smug, but almost smiled at times. And it was not impactful, and it didn't feel genuine.
Yeah.
And you would think that of all the rehearsing that you do with your attorneys prior to trial, prior to going into court,
this is the sentencing phase. That's when you need to have some oomph behind it.
Right.
Like, let's say it like you mean it.
Yeah. Or maybe he got to that point and he just gave up. I don't know. Maybe he's not sorry. I think jail is the best place for him to go.
Well, I would like to ask him, how's your GPA now?
GPA is not so great.
And it doesn't really matter now, does it?
Well, he'll maybe get to take Spanish in prison, because I know he'll be able to get his education.
He will.
There.
That's true. And they don't ask for GPA, SAT scores, and all that kind of crap.
Nope. You get your prison education now.
Well, speaking of sentencing, I'm watching this murder trial where a U.S. border agent has been convicted of murdering his mistress, which she didn't realize she was the mistress.
God.
And their 20-month-old son that they shared between them.
No.
But he had denied the son. Like, he denied the son. He wanted her to have an abortion. And she figured out later it's because he's freaking married, and she didn't realize it. Then when she figured out that he's married with other children,
right,
she went to him and said, I need child support. I'm trying to put myself through school. I need childcare for this kid. I mean, for 20 months, she had done it on her own.
Right.
She has another child, too, who at the time was 7 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And this Border Patrol agent on duty went and killed her and then stabbed and slit the throat of that 20-month-old baby.
Oh, my gosh.
Disgusting. So they're in the sentencing phase right now because he was convicted of 2 counts of capital murder, and he could possibly get the death penalty.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on day 2 of sentencing. Today was day 2. Tomorrow's continued. Yeah. They're parading a whole lot of people out.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's not just impact statements. It's like a hearing where they're calling witnesses to the stand.
Right.
Her mom testified. Her sister has gotten up there, and today they had another Border Patrol agent that was up there that was like a lead investigator in the case.
Right.
And he's reading the text messages that were going on this man's phone an hour prior to and an hour after and 2 hours after he had killed this woman. And do you know what that guy's doing? He's freaking flirting with another one.
Oh my God.
Another woman.
So he used women and children as disposable.
Absolutely. And his wife never knew any of it. Yeah.
I mean, again, this is another person out there who doesn't think about consequences. When you play it out in your mind, I'm going to kill somebody.
But he's a trained professional police officer. And he knows the consequences.
But he thinks that he's above the law because he is the law.
Well, and he thought, I mean, this guy, talk about a narcissist. He thinks that he's the smartest man on earth.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And he is the supervisor on call and he's in charge of the people investigating. And he's like, he texts out to one of the agents and says, they said something about finding a baby and how gruesome it was because the baby wasn't found immediately. The bodies were separated.
Right.
And it's sad because he took this baby out of the stroller. Mm-hmm. The baby was in the stroller. He killed the mom, got rid of her body, and then went after the baby, took the baby out of the stroller, lifted up his shirt, and stabbed him through the heart. And when he didn't think that was good enough, he slit that kid's throat. Now, he is holding a baby in his hand and doing this. This is Satan. Yeah. This is Satan's worst nightmare, I think. I don't know that Satan could take him.
Maybe not.
But now they're doing the sentencing, and so they're reading all the text messages that these flirty text messages. He texts his wife, hey, babe, just want to let you know there's some nasty stuff happening at work. I might be a little bit late. I'll explain when I get home.
My gosh, what a
diabolical.
Diabolical is right.
Yes.
And what is his demeanor in court?
He looks like he's just freaking bored and don't want to be there.
Right.
Not one tear has been shed. Like there were grown men that got up on this stand, Border Patrol agents, grown men who processed the scene, and they could not keep their composure when it came to that baby.
I'm sure.
When they brought out the baby's bloody clothes.
Yeah.
And the little teeny shoes that he was wearing.
Oh my God.
And they couldn't keep it together. They really couldn't.
I'm sure.
So it's just
evil.
People are bonkers.
They are.
Everybody needs to calm down. calling in the Taylor
Listen,
Swift.
you need to calm down.
Everybody, just take a freaking chill
Have
pill
a
already.
beer or a drink.
Have some sponsor opportunity. Buffalo Trace Bourbon Cream.
Life got you down. Buffalo Trace Bourbon Cream.
Picks you back up.
Woohoo.
Anyway, well, that was a good case.
Shake it off. Speaking of Taylor Swift, we're going to shake it
We're gonna
off.
shake it off.
Because this is some heavy, heavy stuff.
I know.
It's not
I
fun.
agree, but we really appreciate y'all listening and sticking with us. And here's what you do. You just go make you some Blueberry Cobbler.
Yes.
And then you pour yourself some Buffalo Trace cream.
And listen, stop it. Everybody stop it with the killing out there.
Stop it.
Stay sweet. Don't
Be
murder.
kind. Be kind.
Be kind. Just gosh.
Stay sweet and don't murder, because if you kill people,
we are going to talk about you, and we're not going to be kind.
we're not going to be kind
We
to
wanna
you.
be kind.
We're not being kind to any murderers.
Don't make me be mean.
Oh,
Don't
make me be that person I don't want to be. But I gotta be when I talk about these stupid ass murdering.
Dumbass people.
Just
Sorry, Mama.
sorry, Mom. I think we should be able to say ass in our 50s.
So I think we shouldn't have to spell the word SUCK when we say it in our 50s as well. I don't know what to tell
I
you.
don't either. I just think that ass should be okay
It
in
should be.
in our 50s.
And we can. We can.
Assholes.
But there is a part of us that
We
doesn't
can't
want
do
to
it.
disappoint our
I
mama.
know. We're having a hard time.
We don't
So
want
we-
her to
when
sing.
we-
I love my girls, but I'm disappointed in them.
Oh, God. I
mean,
can't take
stab
it.
me in the heart right now.
I know. No. So actually, we don't even say asshole when we talk to each other. We say asshole.
Asshole.
What an asshole. So, yeah, that's how we do. 'Cause
Yeah.
we're immature.
Are
We're
we
scared. We're scared.
We're scared. We're scared of our mama. I just don't want to be disappointing.
No, God,
We've
no.
done nothing but try to make
To
her
not
proud.
disappoint.
Right, to make
Yeah.
her proud. And
Yeah,
we've
that's
done
true.
that, so we don't want to lose it over the F
We don't.
word.
We don't.
The F word.
The F word. We're just trying to say ass.
Oh, God, don't say ass.
Ass, 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 ass.
Mama's going to hit you with her shoe.
I know, but I'm
I can hear her marching up the stairs right now.
Flip.
Karen Devaney?
Karen Devaney. What are you saying? I know.
Oh,
Well, guys, we love you. Go
be
make
nice,
some
be good
cobbler.
to your mamas.
Be good to your mama and don't murder people. For God's sake, stop it.
Stop it.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all.
Have a good
we don't
week.
see you. Okay, just goodbye. We're
This
out.
has
I'm
been
done.
Sugar Coated Murder Podcast, a deliciously entertaining true crime podcast. Like what you heard? You can always explore past episodes by visiting sugarcoatedpod.com. Don't forget to like our Facebook fan page and share with friends. Thanks for listening to Sugar Coated Murder Podcast.
Thank you for listening to Believe. You can show support to your host by subscribing to the show and giving us a 5-star rating on your preferred platform. Check us out at Believe.com and search for BLEAV on YouTube.
It's 2023 and you're still looking for a baseball podcast? What's up, party people? Danny Vietti here from the Wake and Rake podcast. Yes, I know the name of our show freaking rocks. Join World Series champion Will Middlebrooks and I as we banter about the best of the best from Major League Baseball, including power rankings,
One of the best players of all time.
headlines,
Solidifies a dynasty.
and special guests.
Reese Hoskins, Stro Show, Jose Trevino.
Listen and or watch every episode of the Wake and Rake podcast, available on all your favorite listening platforms and the all-new Believe Sports channel.